11 people, including 4 gunmen who carried out an attack on concert goers in Moscow, have been arrested. At least 133 people died, while scores others have been injured. The President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, has since vowed retribution. We are now joined by international relations expert Dr Kingsley Makhu. Thank you very much, Doc, for your time this morning. Since ISIS has claimed responsibility, how do we characterize this attack? Is it a terrorist attack?
Good morning, Duduzile. Now, you see, ISIS has claimed responsibility, and the Kremlin is starting to raise a lot of questions around the authenticity of ISIS being involved in this operation. They seem to want to put the blame squarely on Ukraine, because they are saying the arrangements that were made for these attackers to escape into Ukraine. So there are a lot of questions that are coming up to Duduzile. The CIA has also said this attack bears a hallmark of ISIS. We would know that the Russian Federation is involved in a conflict in Syria. And one of the anti-Syrian or anti-Assad entity, it's ISIS. It's a former head of ISIS. But ironically, this former head of ISIS was defected and formed this militia group, works in cahoots with the United States. And there seems to be a blame now that the United States information was misleading and so on. So the situation is quite murky for now. I think within the next few days, we'll start to get much more details in terms of who carried out the attack. Now that 4 of the attackers have been arrested, I think there's a process of interrogation going on. But there's a lot of disinformation playing itself out also to do it.
If we were to follow the logic that indeed this is ISIS-related or it is a terror attack, what would the reasoning be to attack Russia? You know,
as I said, the Russian Federation is involved in protecting the Assad government in Syria. And ISIS unit has been really against Assad. And their militias that have been formed now, they defected from ISIS into anti-Assad, and this militia are supported by the United States. So within that kind of spectrum, you would expect this attack also to happen in Syria, in Russia, I'm sorry. You know, the modus operandi of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, they have a tendency to take the war to the countries that are involved. So we've seen this behavior in the past, that they would take this conflict to the countries that are really attacking them in the Middle East.
What are the optics of it all for a country like Russia to be attacked or to go through a terror attack? This is the first in decades.
You know, it's unprecedented, this number of attacks, even during the conflict, the civil war that was going on, or the conflict that was going on in Russia. You've never seen this large number of people, more than 130 people killed, and civilians. It really sends a message around the world, and I think there must be strong condemnation for this kind of behavior. It can't be that countries that are against Russia are applauding this kind of behavior. We've seen attacks that were happening in other countries and targeting civilians. It's basically unaccepted, this kind of behavior. I'm delighted that a country like South Africa came up to condemn the attack. So there's an expectation that a lot of countries will come up and attack this attack. We would expect in the next few days that the Security Council, the Russian Federation, will call a meeting of the Security Council. It'd be quite interesting to see the level of condemnation that will come up with this. I think it puts the American administration in a very tight corner, given the tension that is happening within the Security Council, not to come up in support of Russian resolution. I think the resolution is probably on the way now.
International relations analyst Dr. Kingsley Makhu, thank you very much for your time this morning.